big question. It's a question we ask everyone. And it's a question that we often get a negative answer. Negative meaning the answer is no. Are you proud of your website? Your website represents you to the world. Your website is your storefront. Hi, welcome. I won't single you out because you just came in. I'm joking. Latinia, thank you for coming. Please have a seat, make yourself at home. You missed a lot of good stuff, but there's plenty more to come. So the question is, are you proud of it? It represents you to the world. You are your website. Yet I ask that question to a lot of people, and the answer is no. I'll ask them, are you proud of your accomplishments? Are you proud of your knowledge? Are you proud of the efforts you make? And the answer is almost always yes. If it's no, we've got a confidence problem, all right? Then we need to talk to this gentleman right here, okay? But what kind of mystifies me is, if you have a website and you're not proud of it, what are you going to do about it? If the answer is yes, I'm proud of it, great. Is there any way to make it better? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but our jobs as marketers, as advertisers, as promoters, is to, wherever we are, keep it going and keep maintaining that good level of business, or to ratchet that business up to make it a little bit better. So if you're proud of it, great. Don't rest on that. What are you going to do to make it a little better? If you're not proud of it, what are we going to do? Give up? That's just bad. You know, or are we going to try and make it a little bit better? And I'm not trying to single anyone out. I'm not trying to beat anyone up. I'm not trying to have anyone feel bad about themselves. But you need to ask yourself that question objectively. And you need to be brave enough, especially if you're the one working on your website, you need to be brave enough to take the steps to make it better. And sometimes, even if you're the most accomplished web person around and you have all the answers and you know what to do, sometimes it's just helpful to get an outside objective opinion. We talk about building a website. The most important thing, the single most important thing that goes into a website is planning. Yeah, most people we talk to spend very little time planning. And when we talk about planning, who wants to answer this question? What's the foundation of planning for a website? Anybody? Coffee, absolutely. Good answer. A vision, absolutely, very important. Anything else? Please come in. Make yourself comfortable. I won't single you out. I wouldn't do that. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming. What else, sir?
Establishing your goals.
Also very important. What helps do all those things when you talk about website development? A site map. And it's all the things that you said are all absolutely true, especially the coffee. But one of the things that's paramount, and one of the things that's almost an afterthought with a lot of people that we talk to, is the site map. Even if you've got a great website now, question it. Question the site map. Question how it's laid out. Question, do I need all the components that are here? Can I improve them? Can I make the journey just a little bit better? But it starts with the site map. And when you talk about a site map, think about that as you would building a house. Any builders in here? We have a couple of people in the construction industry. You wouldn't build a house without a blueprint, so don't build a website without a site map. And make sure it's a good one. And I heard a lot of things about vision. Absolutely, that's a big part of it. The coffee, but it's just like this. Don't start picking out drapes and carpets and curtains and all that stuff until you have a great foundation laid. Until you know exactly how it's going to be. A big part of this too, and I heard it mentioned too, goals. Websites mean different things to different people. You don't have to have the same goals with a website as I do, or as Justin does, or as Kelly does. But you've got to have your own goals defined to make sure your website is successful. Goals for a website. Is it to increase sales? Is it a 24-hour-a-day, 365-day-a-year salesperson that represents your company perfectly, that tells your story correctly every time, that doesn't take a day off, that doesn't eat donuts, doesn't drink coffee, you don't have to be nice to it? Is that what you've got? Do you have something that's there to generate leads and inquiries? Does it separate all the noise out there and just give you qualified people to talk to? Is it something that helps build your brand image? Meaning, does it tell a story? Does it paint a picture of who you are and what you represent? Does it help educate? Does it provide information? Or for some people, and this is being less and less the case all the time, but still the case for a lot of companies, is it simply a validation tool? We talk to companies all the time, especially some of the smaller companies, where they're trying to increase business, they're trying to look more credible, they're trying to appear like they're a company that can handle jobs, but they don't have a website. If you don't have a website, what does that tell the world? Maybe you're not as big a company as you could be. Maybe you're able to take care of jobs, maybe you're not. For a lot of people, a website is simply a validation. I am who I say I am capable of handling this project, I can do a good job on things. So it just depends what the goal is. One thing too, when you're talking about a website, we're talking about a site map, we're talking about priorities, prioritize your goals. For most of you, if I ask this question, the answer is all of these things. I need it to do everything. And that's fine, and yes you do, but pick a primary goal and then build your secondary goals around that. But have it do the one primary function first. This is true for websites, and I'll tell you that this is true for all marketing, all promotions, all events, everything you're doing from an advertising or marketing standpoint. If you're the customer, you're the target audience, you're the subject, you want these three questions answered when you're looking at any piece of information that someone provides you. Who are you? Why should I care? And what do you want me to do? And it's called many things. You can call it the big headline. You can call it a value statement. You can call it the call to action. But make sure, keep it simple. Don't let the simple things get in the way of, or don't let the complicated things get in the way of the simple things. How do you judge if you've done a good job or not? Does it answer those three questions? And does it answer those questions to the target audience, your target customer, people that you want to impress? With your website, always put yourself in your customer's shoes. What do they want? What's important to them? We talk about the customer journey. The customer journey is every step that someone experiences doing business with you, before, during, and after. Okay? Here's where I want to talk about something too. One of the things when we look at websites and we critique people on their websites, or basically any marketing that they're doing, one of the biggest mistakes people make, they want to talk about just how great they are. And I'm sure most of you are very great. I'm sure you're proud of your jobs. I'm sure you do terrific work. I'm sure you've helped a ton of people. But if I'm a customer, what do I care about? Primarily. Not how great you are, what do I care about? What can you do for me? You have to always answer the question that the customer's saying, which is, what's in it for me? And you can't veil that. Okay? What do I mean by that? We talk to some people and it almost gets like this. They talk about themselves, talk about themselves, talk about themselves, and we say, look, you've got to mix that up, you've got to talk about the client. So it's almost like, well, that's enough about all the things that are good about me. Let's talk about you. What do you like about me? Okay? That doesn't work. Okay? It was a nice idea, but it doesn't work. When you're doing a website, when you're writing, when you're marketing, talk about what's good for the customer. This is going to be in your notes. We're going to talk about three primary things today regarding a website. These are three elements when working together, when working properly, come together to make a website that works, to make a website that achieves your goals. And they are, number one, design, number two, the content of the website, And number 3, the user experience, the customer journey. When was the last time anyone in here went on their website and put themselves in the customer's shoes? Actually worked through the website and tried to do business with you as a client. Does anyone in here do that regularly? I'll give you kudos if you do. Does anyone want to admit if you've never done that before? Fair, thank you. Thank you for being brave on that. A lot of people get caught up in the fact that they build it, it was good, we love it, we paid a lot of money for it, or we invested a lot of time, effort, and energy into it, and there it is. It shouldn't be that way. You need to check it, you need to test it, you need to use it as would a client to make sure that it's functioning the way it should. Let's talk about design first. How your website looks. And understand, guys, it does matter. Okay? We're going to talk about this a couple times today. What does great design mean? If you are a designer, how many designers in the room? Designers? If you're a designer, great design means one thing. If you're someone who is, I'll say, a casual marketer, it means something else. If you're someone who is a true marketer, it means something entirely different. Web design does not just mean I like it, so it's good, or I don't like it, so it's bad. I've been guilty of that before. Has anyone else? Has anyone ever actually been punched by a designer? Threatened? Right? Both. No, not quite. But it doesn't mean I like it or I don't like it. There are rules to design, there are elements to design. And they have to be followed in order to achieve better results. Design matters. 75% of users make judgments about a company's credibility based on design. Right? And again, there are elements that make them feel the way they do. It's not just about do they like it or do they not like it. There are rules, there are guidelines, there are things put in place to make sure that you're telling the right story, making it appealing to your target audience. Good designers know that. Number 2, that's huge. 94% of users' first impressions of healthcare sites, we picked out healthcare sites specifically, were design related. So they know right away if that's the place to have my foot amputated, okay? It's a big deal. People look at healthcare sites and get a feeling about it. It's either a feeling of trust, comfort, acceptance, or they're turned off by it completely. 38% of people will stop engaging with your site if your content and layout is unattractive. Should you judge a book by its cover? My mother always said no, but she wasn't in marketing, she wasn't in design. People do judge a book by its cover. Right, wrong, whatever, they judge a book by its cover. Make sure your cover looks great. Make sure the design is as it should be. And 50% of people decide within milliseconds for your visitors to form an impression of your website. I don't know exactly how that works, but that seems pretty fast. So someone looks at it and their brain decides right away, this is appealing to me or it's not. So, do first impressions mean a lot? Absolutely. Especially if you're in a very competitive business. If you're unique, if you're singular, it means a little bit less, still very important. But if you're in a competitive business, you better have a very good design. Because you've got milliseconds to make a great first impression. Now, I said earlier, design has rules, just like the English language has rules. Right? And it's using words, sentences, punctuation, grammar. All right? Be in a lot of trouble being judged on that myself. Okay? But preferences aside, again, whether or not you like things, you use things like lines, shapes, color, texture, space to create visual language. Visual language has rules. And again, it's more than just do I like it or do I not like it. My son Michael wrote a little poem. Michael's 12. My wife loved it. Thought it was the best thing ever. Thinks my son Michael is brilliant. Okay? Does that make it a great piece of literature? No. Michael, yes, it does. Michael did it. Shakespeare. You may not like it, but would you say Shakespeare is a great piece of literature? What Shakespeare writes is great compared to what Michael DeMeo, age 12, wrote. Most likely. It has rules. My wife likes one more than the other, but it doesn't mean that one isn't technically better. One isn't set up better. Does it make sense? I'll share the poem with you guys later on. Visual language helps tell your audience what to pay attention to. This is an example of arguably a great photograph, a great visual. But when you look at this as a consumer, where should you focus your eyes? I probably would step in front of a taxi at this point. Visual language is used to help guide your visitor's eyes, and it helps avoid website sensory overload. If you use visual language correctly, you're helping your visitor focus on what's important. Remember, who are you? Why should I care? What do you want me to do? Visual language helps the part of, what do you want me to do? I want you to look right here. And once you do, it's going to tell you what you should do next. People don't like to be lost. People like to be guided. Part of visual language we're going to talk about is color. Color is hugely important regarding visual language. Okay? Color, use it responsibly. What do you want people to do on this site, Drybar? You want people to do what? Book now. Make it easy. Does that stand out on the page? It absolutely does. If in doubt on color, we try to say use the 60-30-10 rule. And the easiest way to think about that are men's suits. Looking to see no ties. People don't wear ties anymore. I agree. All right. I wore ties for 25 years. I've had enough of them. They're kind of passé. But in men's suits, people have always followed the 60-30-10 rule, which is obviously your suit is 60% of your colors, your shirt is 30, and then the other 10 is your tie, or in my case, the pocket square that I forgot this morning, my shoes and socks. Okay? We'll pass on the tie. I'll break the rules just a little bit. Okay? And again, use color responsibly. Color is a great part of visual language. Bill Torres. Bill, did you make it in? Interestingly, we are using actual examples of people's websites here, so I want to say thank you very much to those of us brave enough to give examples here. Caleb, I know you did. Randy, I know you did. A couple others as we go. Bill Torres painting. Here is an example of, and I get it. This is where I'm going to say this is an example of a little bit of the curse of knowledge. Curse of knowledge is, I know my industry. I know what works. No one's better at colors and paint than I am. But this is where it's actually hurting Bill Torres. And I say that because this is the site that Bill is actually using right here. When I look at this site, from a painting standpoint, I get what he's going for. There's a use of all kinds of different colors in here, and it's great, and he shows a great range of it. But tell me what's up with this site. I mean, tell me what's the one thing you notice when you look at this site?
A lot of reading.
A lot of reading, and
It's hard on the contrast.
it's hard from a contrast standpoint. And I notice here's a big difference too. And I'm in the same boat. You're not wearing glasses, so it was real easy for you to, you saw the words right away. You're back a little bit, and it was hard to see the words. I'm in the same boat. I have a very, very hard time reading this site. Kelly took it, and what did she do? She applied 30-60-10. 60-30-10. Something.
Pull out the background.
That's why we have Kelly and not me do this. Okay? Basically, change the background to white. Now, you can read the site. You can read the words on it. You can pay attention to what's important instead of it being just a big muddled mess of beautiful colors. Great colors, but what a difference when you go to the white background. So, Bill, thank you for being brave. I think Bill got nervous at the last minute. He was walking up the stairs and spun around and ran back out. Homestead Village. Caleb, thank you for volunteering this. Caleb. This is, and here's, I'll say this, we didn't design this site, but the company that did a great job with the use of color. It is the picture, number one, they invested some money into good pictures, good imagery, they stand out, and what is the thing that they want people to do? Yeah, learn about this neighborhood, click here. It's a great use of color by getting people to focus on what they want to, especially the mobile version. This is the desktop version on the left, the mobile version's on the right. So number one, good use of responsive design, good use of color, very good calls to action, so well done. I hate it when the competition does a good job, but they did a good job. And, you know, one of the things, I might not always tell everybody what they want to hear. I will always tell everyone what I really think and what we really think. So if someone does a good job, I'm going to let you know. If someone doesn't do a good job, I'm going to let you know that too. I'll try and do it gently, tenderly, but I'm going to let you know. So good job on this one. Bill Torres, not such a great job. But it's an easy fix. Okay? And just that little bit. And how would you know that if you didn't just pay attention to that site every once in a while? So, design. Second part, content. Content. It's all your text, images, video, any media, everything about your site that tells a story is part of your content. Make sure you use it responsibly, use it correctly, make good use of it. One thing too, who was it that said it's very wordy on the one site? I tend to agree with you on that as well. One of the things that we as marketers understand, has anyone ever heard this before? People generally, as a rule, don't read word for word. Some people do. 79% of the audience kind of scans. They don't really read, they scan. There is 16% of the audience that reads word for word. Who's the word for word people in here? A couple, so that's 16%. Something like that. Right? So it holds true in this audience. But one thing we know too, they don't just scan, they scan in an F-shaped pattern. So when you're writing, or you're putting content on, understand that you need to put the most important things on the left side, top left side first, and then on the left side as you go. Okay? Second thing, don't make it too complicated. Don't try and get everything in there. That's when, and I've used this word before, the curse of knowledge. The curse of knowledge is that you know your business so very well. You understand everything about it, and you want to tell everyone all the great things about it. There is a place for that. It's not right here. You want to give people what they want to know, again, not from your standpoint, but from their standpoint. So what you should do, one big idea per page. One clear point. One thing with clarity of thought. Then you use different headings to focus on one key point at a time. Don't overload your page. Don't try and tell them everything there is to know. There is definitely a place for that type of content. And that type of content helps you get found. We're going to talk about it in a minute. But when we're talking about your website, what's on page, you want to keep it scannable, readable, hold people's attention. You just focus on what they really want to know. Not necessarily how great you are, but what's important to them. So knowing that, try and make text scannable. On the left, how do you make your website copy easy to read? First, there are a few tips. First, use meaningful headlines. What if I were to tell you that the left side and the right side say the exact same thing? Which one's easier to read? Which one would help you remember what the page was all about? Yeah. Which one would have the biggest impact? Again, for the readers, that 16%, that's still going to work, and there's other ways to do that. But for everyone, that's the way to lay it out. Make sure you're using meaningful headlines and subheadings, short, active sentences, highlight important words, bulleted lists, cut the fluff, and avoid industry jargon. People don't know, even though you're an expert on it, you think, well, people should know what QPR 47 item 6 means. They don't. And they don't care. They don't care what it is, they care what it does, what it means to them. Okay? Your website is not the time to get cute. Unless you're a cute website. When you write, your content should be written with the intent to solve problems. Remember, persuasive copywriting is not about you, it's about them. And focus on benefits over features. People care what it means, not what it is. I almost butchered that. You know, I don't really know how my car works, but I manage to get places every day. So what it means is it's something to get me. Okay, don't focus on features, focus on the benefits of it. And again, don't assume that everybody knows the benefits. They don't. And if they do, it's okay to remind them from time to time. But write to solve problems and not veil problems. Again, it's about what's important to them. Who are you? Why should I care? What do you want me to do? I should care because you're solving my problem. Here's an example where this is done well. This is a website for a company called Smartwool. Now, when you talk about Smartwool, again, no one really cares necessarily that it's wool. What do people care about? What it does. It keeps me warm. It keeps me dry. I can use it when I'm exercising and it's not going to make my feet sweat, or it's not going to be too hot for me. It's not going to make me cold. It's durable. It lasts a long time. And this talks to the audience of, who do you think this audience is? Active, adventurous, outgoing. What do they care about? They want to know, number one, they're going to invest in a pretty good pair of socks or a pretty good sweater or whatever it is they're saying. And it's, look, you do it all. This is the audience. You do everything. Your gear needs to be able to keep up with it. So I don't really care that it's wool. I care that it can keep up with me. I care that it can do what I want it to do. And visuals are powerful. 65% of people learn by visual, which is why we have PowerPoints, which is why we don't just stand up here and talk. Okay, it's to back it up with visual. People remember the visual aspects. And I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the human brain can process an image in as little as 13 milliseconds. And I don't know exactly what that means, but it sounds pretty fast. All right? A lot faster than I can say. All right? So, if you're looking to save money, if you're looking to be economical, if you're looking at where can I cut costs, I'm going to strongly recommend that visuals, that pictures, not be one of those items. We always recommend to people, go with the best photographer you can handle. Professional photographer in the room. So whatever you can do, if it's you that has to take the picture, if you're hiring someone, if you're using stock images, whatever is best for your budget, that's where you want to put a little money. Visuals are a big deal. Visuals tell a great story. Don't skimp on visuals. I think I got the point across. Don't skimp on visuals. Right? They're important. Visuals also keep things interesting. All right? Visuals break up what could be a lengthy, boring, continuous seminar. Someone ranting, talking, speaking. But visuals break up long blocks of text, so invest in high-quality photography and explore video content always. Visualize data with infographics. Does anyone use infographics in what they do? It's a great way. Infographics are basically using a picture and graphics to tell a story. Instead of it being long and boring and drawn out, you kind of use pictures to get points across. It's great with data. It's great with boring things. It just helps to kind of break things up. We can talk about that more after. Now, one thing too, when you talk about content and SEO go hand in hand. And the question is always, what is content for?
What's SEO?
SEO would be search engine optimization. That is how people find your website without just typing in your exact name. So it would be if someone's doing kind of a broad search and they find you that way. And we can actually, and we have done seminars just on SEO. We're going to just scratch the surface of it today. we can definitely have further conversations after this. Again, we're covering a lot of ground here today. And write content that people love, then optimize it so search engines love it too. Nowadays, going back from the old days of just a couple months ago, AI is reading websites, AI is reading content. They read it like people read it, they're learning every day, and they're learning to read things just like people read things. So the days of keyword stuffing and trying to do tricks and all that stuff are done. It's all about writing great content. And write content for people, write content to solve problems. AI will figure out if you're the right candidate or not for that search. When we talk about optimization, there's on-page optimization, that which lives on your website. And these are things like having great title tags, meta descriptions, having clear URL structures, having subject mentions in headers and the body of text, and descriptive images and alt text. Now, for developers, for designers, you know what that means. For those of us that are laymen, these are basically tools that you use to tell your audience and to tell search engines what the page is about, what the content is about. And if done properly, this works very well. It can make you some money and can get you found. If done improperly, it's helping with your search. One of the things we're going to do, I do have a couple tips and some free tools that you can use to see if your website is optimized properly. We're going to recommend go to SEOPTIMER.com. It's SEOptimer.com. So they have SEO in there and then PTIMER. This is a free tool, and you can go in and see if your on-page is optimized properly. Later on in the presentation, too, we're going to give you a couple sites to visit. Kelly, is that in the notes? They're in the notes, so take a look at it. These are free tools. All you have to do is copy and paste your URL, and it'll let you know if your site is properly optimized. Okay? It'll give you tips on it, and you can either fix it yourself or get someone to help you with it. Second thing, off-page. This is where, again, to the question of SEO, this is where longer form content comes into play. And this would be things like doing link building, keywording, writing good topics, and essentially, you want to be known for specific topics. Who's ever heard the term before, topic clusters? Okay. Topic clusters are basically you picking one key topic that you want to be known for, and that's the foundation of everything you're doing, and then you're writing other content, putting together other supporting documents to just show that that is the topic for which you're known. It's basically a main topic and then a bunch of supporting content to show that that is your main topic that you're doing. Again, that's a seminar in and of itself. If you've not heard that term before, you're going to hear it a lot. And again, we can talk about that more. If anyone wants to further the discussion about this, let me know. We can meet afterwards. Okay. Here's an example of using content to your advantage. Okay. Justin, are you in the room? He was another guy. No, the other Justin. Justin Espanko. Do you represent this company too, Justin? All right. Crane Company. They've done a lot of things really well here. Great use of imagery and great use of color. The idea is they have a lot of black and whites in here, and then they've worked in the crane in big yellows where it gets found. They've worked in the learn more well using color. So great use with a lot of things in here. They also have great content as part of this site. There's good product specs, literature, case studies. If there's any criticism of it, we think it can get a little bit corporate-y, it's just a little bit industrial, and that's an opinion. The argument may be, well, we're writing for architects, we're writing for engineers. I get that. We hear a lot from people, though, that say, look, I have a product that's not at all sexy. We have a product that's very industrial. What do we do about this? And we don't have a choice. We have to do it this way. That's true, but it can be done. Here's an example of a company that also had a good use of imagery, but made their boring old big fans interesting. Name of the company? big ass fans. All right? So and when you hear guys talking in a plant, you hear them say that. Well, you know, what's the problem? Oh, well, it gets hot in here. We need to keep the air moving. You know what we need? We need a big ass fan. And they do. Welcome. So here's a company that was smart enough to know, you know what? Let's just call it that. Okay? So big ass fans made that as a name, and even their content throughout uses this. This is a company that could be just another big, boring fan company. But they change the name, even in their content, they just talk about how it's just a little bit more interesting. They use words like bye-bye to smelly warehouses, bye-bye to being hot, just things that appeal to their target audience. If you don't have a sense of humor, you're not going to like big-ass fans. Right? And aside from everything else, it's a good product. Now, you have to still have a good product. You can't just have a great name and expect to last. But that's just one way to use good visuals, and it's how you make a very unsexy product sexy or funny or compelling, interesting, something more than just, we sell fans. 44 forward. Is April in the room? April, good, thank you. Thank you for volunteering, and thank you then for being brave enough to show up.
Yeah, right.
Now, April, you're in the brand development, brand building business, so great. Number one, great use of your strategy is rare, creative is bold, execution is fast, great use of that. The train represents speed, moving forward, progression. You have to pay attention. I'm assuming that's what you were going for there. I think you did a great job with that, okay? We have 12 criticisms. No, I'm just kidding. Your copy, no, you're not. Copy is concise, interesting headlines, okay? One thing we found, you do have a broken link, so just go into link checker and find out, or see either me or Kelly afterwards will let you know what that is. And one thing that was just a little bit rough, and again, this is an opinion, on Contact Us, you have to send an email. Opinion, not everyone's going to want to send an email. They may not want to contact you that fast. Sometimes we find it works with a Contact Us form. Fill something out and send it in. But I think you did a great job with this. Our opinion is that's a great site. Nice one. See, it's not all bad. You can still come. Right? You notice that the people that didn't come, I criticized the one that's here. No, but you did a great job with it.
Great, thank you.
Last part of this, user experience. What are your visitors thinking and feeling when they're using their site? When they're using your site? How is it? Are you easy to work with? Don't make people overthink. User attention is precious. Don't squander it. Help people stay focused. Here's a quiz, or an opinion. Who do you think has a longer attention span? Me or that goldfish? The goldfish. Statistically speaking, a goldfish has a longer attention span than a human being. A goldfish has an attention span of 8 seconds. True story. The average human, 6 seconds. Me, 2 seconds. So, the big question is, who's got a longer attention span, me or the goldfish? The goldfish. Understand that's your audience. So you've only got a couple seconds to make an impression. Make it work. Don't squander it. Because once they're gone, they're gone. It's hard to get them back. And good design, good content are part of the user experience. All right? But it also focuses on structure, behavioral flow, and technical elements. Make sure everything's working. Make sure it's smooth transition, or you're going to lose the simple-minded goldfish. Also, we talk about navigation. When you talk about navigation, make sure it's clear, make it obvious. When we talk about use conventions, meaning use conventional navigation. Use contrasting colors. Keep it consistent and make it sticky, meaning make it so people can remember it and find it. This is a cartography website. This is not the time to get cute. Now, Kelly added these arrows, but this is the navigation now. These arrows don't exist on the real site. They were just for the old guy to be able to find them, okay? But this is where you click on for news. That's how you contact us. That's the About Me. That's great, and as a cartographer or a map maker, I think that's terrific. I think it's great, and it fits right in, it blends. But does it make it easy for me, the client, to find it? It's a poor use of color, It's hidden. This is not the time for where's Waldo.
Verizon is a huge company. And if anybody ever uses Verizon, I have Fios at home, and oh my heavens, it is the worst website I have ever used in my life. It is not
It's not user-friendly.
And you can't find anything, that they have no contact us.
Yeah.
You can't find an 800 number
Yep.
to save your life. And it is the most frustrating website I have ever used in my entire life. They need to fix it.
I understand, and I completely agree with you. Highmark is the same way. I've got a personal pet peeve against Highmark. Let me just explain, though, too. They don't want you to call them.
And when you do call them, you want to reach for the phone and smack somebody.
They don't like to be smacked. There's two things, and I'm making fun of it, but you're absolutely right, but that is by design. Verizon loses money if too many clients get through to them, so it's got to be really bad, and you've got to be really motivated to reach them. You can do it, but it's not easy. I know people that work for Verizon, that is part of their plan. I mean, I am vilifying the big company. Anyone work for Verizon? That is part of what they do, and you're absolutely right. And as a small business, we can't do that. As a medium-sized business, we can't do that. As a service organization, we can't do that. If you're Verizon, you can do whatever you want. When we talk about nav, too, keep it simple. Clear, concise titles, limit the number of items in your navigation, and avoid complex drop-downs. So don't have 100 samples or 100 different options. The one exception to that, if you do have a mega site, you've got a mega shopping cart, you've got a lot of items, and people are going there to buy things, that's a little bit different than I'm giving people options. Don't give more, I think it's, 7 options is the max, Kelly? We're going to say don't give more than 4 or 5 options if you can help it. People don't like too many options. People need to know, what do you want me to do? Make it easy for me to do business with you, and I might just do it. Here's an example. Furniture Soup, David. I didn't see David come in. Okay. Furniture Soup is a great company. They make office furniture. It's a little bit unique. It's kind of edgy, kind of trendy. It's great. Criticism of the site, just 2. This is not the time to get cute. Okay. The name of the company is Furniture Soup, and they're kind of conventional. Home, product search, ingredients. Ingredients. What does that mean? If I'm a casual user, if I'm trying to buy a chair, what is ingredients? Wait, and I get it, it's soup. Ingredients go into soup. Not the time to get cute. Not the time to get clever. Let me know what I'm doing. The second criticism we have is, you've got a lot of chairs. There is task chairs, conference chairs, lounge chairs, guest chairs, deck chairs. Maybe we could just have a section that said, chairs. Maybe make it a little bit easier. And again, that's a great company. They do great work. David is a smart marketer. I know the guy personally. A couple recommendations. And again, is that the end-all, be-all because Chris and Kelly said so? Yes. It's just our opinion, but it's a professional opinion based on human behavior. Okay? And my guess is, if they were studying behavior, if they were studying the analytics, and we'll get to that in a minute, they would find that that holds true. That they're losing people in there. It's my guess. I don't know. Make a clear path. Sorry, mouth is stopped working. Use your website as if you were the customer. Put yourself in the customer's shoes. I've said it now 3 times, so I think it's important. Okay? Always put yourself in the customer's shoes. Are there logical steps to your goal? Are the buttons clear? Are the calls to action clear? Are there barriers like broken links? Are there things in the way? If you've got a broken link, if you've got an unclear nav, they're standing in the way of people doing business with your company. If you're highly in demand, people will go out of their way a little bit. But what about the person that could have gone either way? What about the person that was kind of on the fence? Am I going to go to you or am I going to go to the competition? Make it easy for these people, and they may choose you over the competition. Okay? Who has to work hard to get business in the door? Anybody? I do. Okay? And it doesn't mean that you're not great companies, it doesn't mean that you're not doing great things, it doesn't mean that your heart's not in the right place, but you've got to make it easy for people to do business with. You work too hard to bring someone to your website, don't lose them there. All the time, effort, and energy that went into getting them there, why would you want to lose them at the end? Pet peeve, and you and I agree 100% on this. Make it easy for people to contact you. Studies show that 65% of visitors want to see your contact information, even if they're not going to use it. They want to know it's there. Even if they weren't planning on calling you, they want to know that they can if they want to. And my recommendation is, too, you should be able to call somebody or contact somebody from every page if you can. If there's exception to that, great, but make it easy. I'm old school, obviously by my age. Oftentimes, if I'm going to buy something, if it's somewhat of a substantial purchase, I want to talk to a human being. I want to look somebody in the eye, right? Or look somebody in the ear if I'm talking on the phone, okay? Make it easy for me to call you. Make it easy for me to contact you. Again, even if I don't want to do it, it fills me with confidence that it's okay if I have a problem or a challenge or something's up that you're going to want to talk to me. Verizon, Blue Cross Blue Shield, I know they don't want to talk to me. So I'm going into that knowing that if I have a problem, I'm going to have a hard time getting these people. For those of us that want to do business locally or want to be able to talk to people, that's a sign right there. And it could be a sign that, whoops, I just didn't put myself in the customer's shoes. Or it could be a sign that they really don't want to talk to me. And speed matters when you're talking about websites loading, when you're talking about things coming up. Bounce rate. Does everyone know what bounce rate is? That's if someone's on a page and they get off the page. Starting July 2018, page speed will be a ranking factor for all mobile searches. So if it's, someone's doing a search and it's kind of a toss-up between you and the competition, but their site loads faster than yours, guess who gets the click, or the call, or the search? Bounce rate increases 32% if your load time is between 1 and 3 seconds. If it's over a second, up to 3 seconds, bounce rate increases up to 32%. Between up to 5 seconds, bounce rate increases 90%. Yes?
How do you know your speed?
Good thing, yeah, good question. There are tools that you can use that measure your speed, and that's going to be in one of the links we give you later on. So again, great question. The question is, how do you know what your speed is? There are free tools you can use to let you know that. And they're important. I would definitely do it because, especially if you're studying analytics and you see there's a high bounce rate, it's one of a couple things. It's either it was irrelevant to the people searching, so you didn't do a good job getting the right people to it. The content was bad on the site, it was poor navigation, or something was wrong. And the something wrong is, and I'm going to come to that in a minute. So it goes on and on. If your speed is over 5 or 6 seconds, say goodbye. And you need to test that. And one way to look at it is look at your bounce rate. If it's unusually high, see why. Okay? What affects speed? Things like large images, bloated coding, meaning not great coding, server issues, hosting issues. Sometimes you've got way too many clients on the same server. Your hosting company may not be doing a good job. And redirects. Something's going to one page, it gets sent to another. So there's lots of things. The speed checker tools I'm going to tell you about later will let you know what the challenges are. So it won't just tell you what the speed is, it'll let you know that this could be a potential problem. Yes.
How often should you check the speed?
Great question. How often should you check it? I'm going to say, short answer, as often as you can. If you have a really high frequency website, people are on it a lot, how do I want to answer this? As much as you can. I won't say because, well, if you don't have a lot of traffic on your website, you don't need to check it that often. Well, that's probably an argument for check it as often as you can, because if you only have a couple of people, you can't afford to miss it. Kelly, what do you recommend? Every month? Every week?
I don't think it needs to be as frequent as every week or every month, but certainly if you're running some analytics, doing like once a quarter and saying am I noticing any changes? And certainly, if you're looking at your other analytics and you're seeing an unusually high bounce rate, or you're seeing something change, that's when you want to start looking into why is this happening. And high bounce rates are definitely a reason to go back and check the speed happening on your site or happening on that page.
Thank you. So check your analytics. You should be checking your analytics monthly. If everything looks good, you need to worry about it less. If you're having challenges, business is slowed down, less people on there, high bounce rates, go in and find out what the challenge is. Thank you for the clarity. And one thing too, responsive, we've been saying it forever. It's not an option. For a while it was trendy, it was cute, it was clever. It's not an option. If you don't have a responsive design, you're going to suffer. And you've been suffering a little bit over the years. You're never going to suffer more than you are coming up. And by suffer, I mean you're not going to rank. Okay? And responsive design means, very quickly, your site looks as good on a smartphone, a tablet, any other device as it does on your desktop. It should look good and function properly on all devices. And half of all Google searches, more than half of all Google searches are on mobile. I think it's around 60-something%, depending on what you look at. And Google penalizes websites that are not mobile friendly. And starting soon, Google will start to look at your mobile website first. It's called mobile first indexing. Meaning they're going to look at that first to determine where a search should go. It used to be they'd look at your desktop first, then look at mobile. Now they're looking at mobile first. So make sure your mobile site, the mobile version of your site looks great and functions well and everything works, and check it on multiple devices. You can't just say it works on a smartphone. You've got to check it on all different types of smartphones. Here's an example. Randy, this is one of your properties.
Yes, sir.
Randy, how many properties do you manage?
Not enough.
Not enough. Great answer. This is one. Thank you for volunteering. St. James Hotel. Beautiful place. They're in Minnesota. Okay, good. So they're safe. Lots of good things about this website. We had lots of good things to say. We do have a couple critiques on it. Number one, great image. Okay, the site is beautiful. Picture is beautiful. The problem is the performance is a little bit slow. You have 6-second load time on content, and up to 14 seconds load time on some of the scripts. So you need to take a look, or we need to take a look and see something's up with this that's causing that. Again, beautiful, it's unique, it's great calls to action, wonderful stuff. My only critique again is, this is such a great use of imagery that it's actually hurting you with what you really want them to do. And what do you want them to do? Book now. That's Randy's job. If you run a hotel, Randy's job is to get people in your doors. Okay? And lots of good clients. We've worked with Randy a long time. He does a terrific job with it. My only critique is, this color is very similar to the colors of the great imagery. So we're going to recommend either make that a lot bigger, move it somewhere, change the color of it, just do something where it's a lot more dynamic so that it can get found. You've done a great job with everything. Let's get them in the end. Let's fix whatever's causing it to load slowly, and let's fix that button. Diversity works. Is Lavinia here? Thank you for coming, and thank you for volunteering with us. Lots of good things with this site. I like the part about coming soon, an accessible website. That's forward thinking. That's a big deal. Does everyone know how that works? Accessible websites are a thing of the future now. So if your website is not ADA compatible, accessible, it's going to have to be fairly soon. What makes it accessible? A lot of it has to do with imagery. A lot of it has to do with the fact that if you're visually impaired, you can't see a photograph, you can't see an image. But an ADA site will set it up so that the picture will translate into words that can be made in audio that you can listen to. So among other things, that's one of the points of it. The site itself is a little bit outdated design, and our critique on that, but there's a lot of cool progressive things to it. We also like the fact that the font is larger, and I'm assuming that was by design for maybe an older clientele, someone who has a harder time seeing. And again, just a lot of good things along with it. Site design is a little bit outdated. Your contact information is great. Your appointment requests are right at the top, so a lot of good things. Our only critique is you might want to just update that design. make it pop a little, but done a lot of good things. See, I was nice to the people here, kind of. It's just that's how it worked out. I wasn't too rough on the others, was I? Yeah. Let's talk about tracking and measuring. We're coming into home stretch. Here, how do you know if what you're doing is working or not? How do you know if you're getting results? How do you know if the different components of your website are helping you get the desired results? There are lots of free tools that you can use. There's lots of tools you can pay for too, but there's lots of free tools that you can and should be using. First of all, and this is in the package.
That information is in the packets for your Google mobile friendly test and your Google page speed insights test. That's a really long URL. Just Google it.
Yeah, Google it and click it.
Google mobile friendly test and Google a page speed results, and you'll get those links.
So these are some things we provided. So the question is, how do you know if you have a good website? It grades you from A to F. How do you know if you're optimized? You can go right in that tool. How do you know if you have broken links? Go to that tool. How do you know if you've got page speed problems? Whether or not you're mobile friendly, whether or not you're competently mobile friendly. Free tools. Okay, none of these cost any money, and it'll give you an idea of where you are. Now, when you do that, what you do with that knowledge is up to you. You can choose to ignore it, pretend it didn't happen. You can fix it on your own. You can get a little help, or you can call in an outside agency to look at that. So whatever works for you. And when you're talking about tracking, make sure your goals are SMART. And SMART goals mean they can be specific, they're measurable, they're attainable, have realistic goals, they're relevant to what you're looking to do, and they're timely. You can take care of them right away. What we mean by that is the goal shouldn't be get more leads from your website. It should be something like increase requests for a quote by 20% in the next 6 months. Your goals are your goals. The point is make them specific, make them measurable so you know if you achieve them. Another example, the goal shouldn't be to rank first on Google. It should be, what are we going to do to increase product page views, right? And what percentage are we looking to increase? Trackable metrics. One of the things you should be looking at now, these are all Google Analytics tools. Trackable metrics. What goals like your form, take a look at your form fills, how many people are going on your site and what they're doing, how many people are looking at specific pages, how many people visiting your shopping cart and what they do when they get there. Second one is, take a look at new versus returning visitors. The idea is you should know if someone is on your site for the first time or if it's someone that's been there before. Why would you want to know that? Anybody? The question is...
The returning visitors found something interesting they want to come back to.
Yeah, absolutely. Number one, I want to know that they're there. Number two, I want to know how many of them. What do I really want to know? How did they get there? Why did they come there? What did I do to make them come to the site? Is the marketing that I'm doing to try and get people to the site working? What was it that brought them there? It's just like the easiest, the oldest way to track information, the way we've done it for 1,000 years. If someone calls you up or contacts you or stops in to see you, what's the best way to track that? We've done it forever. How'd you hear about us? I know that when they're talking to you guys, you're asking that question, you know that answer. How about if you're a big company and someone else is answering the phone, or someone comes to your front desk, something like that? Are they doing that? We like the expression, of course we are. I always do, sometimes, right? Google Analytics lets you know that, right? So use it. It's a great tool. I want to know who's new. I want to know what I've done to get new people to the site. I also want to know what I'm doing right to get people to come back. And am I doing enough? And if that starts to fall off, what do I need to do to make that happen more? Traffic sources. I want to know where my traffic's coming from. Is it an organic search? Are they coming from a different site? What drove them to the site? One thing too, it lists, here's an idea, it talks about the different channels that you're using. One of the things that, I'm sorry, I got to slide ahead. One of the things that we look at here is that social media did not draw a ton of people to the site. It only drew 6 people, but 3 of them converted. 3 of them did business. So what did we do right there? I think that came from House. So, great site. It doesn't always have to be what drove the most people or what was the biggest number, it's what converted. And again, to the point earlier, what made them do that? What did we do right to have that happen?
These are
Or they're
analytics
not
from a
converting at
tile
all.
client of ours, by the way.
Say it again?
These are analytics from a
Yeah,
client
this
of
is for
ours.
Tileology on Centerville Road. I forgot to say that. I didn't see Ken come in, so. But yeah, these are specific analytics. So we drove a few people on social media, not a ton, but the ones that we drove did business with them. Lastly, let's take a look at behavior. What happened when they got to the site? How many pages did they visit? Where did they drop off? Where did people click? Where did they go? An analytic like this helps tell a story about what they did. I lied about lastly. And the last metric is page stats. You know, where did they visit? What page did they go to? Where did they enter? Where did they bounce? You know, where did they bounce off right away? What was the bounce rate? What was the exit rate? It tells the story about people's journey once they got to the site. Again, all free analytics can, it's not so much about the analytics. Anybody can read the numbers. The questions you want to keep asking are, what made them do that? Why did that happen? What can we do to do better? Where did we miss them? What questions haven't we asked and answered? One good useful tool is A/B testing. Google offers free A/B testing, and look under behaviors, experiment, and then check out experiments in Google Analytics. If you're not sure, should we use this headline or that headline? Should we use this description, that description? You can run this through Google Analytics, or I'm sorry, split testing, and it'll let you know that. We've done a seminar before and we talked about it, and we put a lot of emphasis on color. Understand it, when you're doing A/B testing, it's a lot more than just color. A lot of things go into it. This is an example of ourselves. Our next seminar coming up is free seminar B, learn how to build a successful marketing plan. Our split testing was we checked out 2 different headlines, 2 different statements. Which one did better? Can I get a show of hands? Just taking a quick look. Which one do you like better, A or B? Who likes A better? How about B? Who likes B better? Heck, you'll go with A. No, we went with B too. And Google, the analytics proved that out for us. So it ranked a lot higher, so we went with that. One other thing too, when you're looking at metrics, don't get distracted by vanity metrics. Vanity metrics are metrics which may make you feel good, or someone may tell you a good story about, but it really doesn't necessarily help you. For years, everyone talked about the best metric is, can I get you #1 on Google? Is that the best metric? Maybe. #1 on Google for what? What's more important is, can I get a lot of people on my page that I'm trying to get them to? And the last thing I want to say too, exact keyword matching is a thing of the past. Okay, it's more about overall content. It's more about what's relevant. It's not about putting together some good keywords and stuffing them in there. Overall, traffic by itself is rarely actionable. Break it down. Look for the cause. What made them go there? What made them stay? What made them jump off? And search rankings. Google rankings are personalized, they're variable, and they're hard to measure accurately, but there are ways to do it. Last couple slides. We're in the home stretch, guys. People ask about the future of web design. Where are we going? What are we going to do? What does it look like? We are finally, and I say finally after a couple decades, getting away from the old way to look at websites. And it was more or less, we compared them to a brochure. And it was a very visual tool, and it followed a specific pattern, and it was, this is who we are, this is what we offer, this is what we do. And over the years, we basically built websites around that. Now, we've improved it, and we've added bells and whistles and better metrics, but the new website is all about the digital experience. And it will use things like virtual reality. It'll be voice technology. But it's still it'll use video. But it's about what big data tells us. It's about what's important to AI. It's about user experience more than anything else. You're going to see home pages become less and less important because people are going to want to go directly to the information they want. They don't necessarily want to land on a homepage and then start to search. They want to be looking for something, whether they're saying it into the device and it takes them there, or they're searching and it goes directly there. I think you're going to see a little bit more getting away from the homepage design and getting away from the, this is a digital brochure design, and more into just total overall user experience. Whether or not that's true, we'll check back in a year or so.